With you, Dave Ellswick Show, Washington, D.C. Congressman Tim Griffin is here. Let's jump in here right away, Congressman. Talk about non-citizens cheating hard-working taxpayers out of billions must stop now. Press release you just sent us about House Resolution 1956. Why don't you bring us up to date on this?
Well, I just signed on to this today as a co-sponsor. It's called the Refundable Child Tax Credit Eligibility Verification Reform Act. I know that's a mouthful, but basically you have non-citizens who are filing, they're getting a tax ID number, and they're filing a tax return, and they're claiming kids that may or may not be in the United States, and they're getting refundable tax credits. They're getting huge checks back from the federal government, and they're not even citizens. And so one of my colleagues in the House introduced H.R. 1956 that basically would require that someone provide a Social Security number as an additional verification. And the crazy thing is, if we would plug this hole, it would generate about $5 billion, which is about what the extra tax increase, $5 billion a year. It's about what the tax increase that President Obama wants would generate. And I think one of the reasons so many Americans are so fed up, particularly when we talk about raising taxes, is that there's so many examples of folks of the federal government wasting our money or not taking action. We're doing a lot in the House. A lot of it dies in the Senate and elsewhere. But why? It's like if you had a financial advisor who just kept losing money and losing money and losing money. Why would you give that advisor more money? Mm-hmm. You'd say, look, why don't you figure out how to fix the problem you've already created, and then let's have a conversation about how we go forward in our relationship. Well, I sort of feel like me and you and our constituents, my constituents, look at the federal government and they say, hey, you hadn't really lived up to your end of the bargain. The free cell phones, the money that's been given away for this, a lot of money that we should address with reform, and we're not doing it. A lot of us are doing our part, but it's not enough. So this is just an easy fix. It should be an easy fix, but we'll see where it goes.
How long do you think it takes before you might see this hit the floor and a vote come on it?
Well, I think this one's just gaining steam. The cell phone bill is moving a little faster. I think a lot of it depends on how much noise constituents make. If people will demand demand action and show that this is what they're concerned about, then the House responds to that. And many times it's not because we're ignoring an issue, this issue or that issue, but there are so many issues you can't deal with them all. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease to some extent. The ones that people are really focused on, they rise to the surface. So if you're interested in this, speak out. Let us know.
All right, that's H.R. 1956, just so everybody knows. All right.
Right.
The cell phone bill, I remember when you brought this up last year, and you could hardly get anybody to get on this with you. Suddenly things changed. How come?
Well, we have just sort of renewed our fight on this, and about a week ago, we decided that we were going to start pushing really, really hard. And, we had gotten some co-sponsors, but I think what really set me off is a couple weeks ago, my daughter, who's in 4-year-old kindergarten, came home, and she had, and I've got it here in front of me, she had one of these advertisements in her for free cell phones in her backpack. And I just got so angry, and I said, I've got to circle back on this and double my efforts. And so we started doing a lot of national press. The bottom line is this: $1 billion of taxpayer money, $1 billion with a B, $1 billion with a B, is paying for free cell phones. Some people are getting 10 cell phones, 20 cell phones, 30 cell phones, 40 cell phones, Blackberries like this one I'm holding.
That's on my Facebook.
Okay.
I took a picture of it.
This Blackberry that I'm holding was sent to one of my constituents. They're a constituent who's, as far as I know, not eligible, and they didn't ask for it. They just got it in the mail, and they called me, and they go, I don't know why. Well, here's why. The federal government has set this program up in such a way where every phone that they give out, they get reimbursed for. And that's why they give the same people numerous phones, even though they're not supposed to. The bottom line is the federal government shouldn't be in the business of just providing people free cell phones. I mean, where does it end? I had someone say the other day, well, wouldn't it be great if everybody had a cell phone? Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be great. It'd also be great if everybody had jumper cables in their trunk. Should we buy everybody jumper cables? They can't afford them?
Well, should you buy everybody a car?
It'd be great if everybody had a first aid kit in the back of their car. I don't have one. Maybe we should get everybody a first aid kit. I mean, where do you draw the line? I'm saying, will you at least draw the line on cell phones? Okay? And look, if you want to come up with a cell phone that has one button for 911, then I'll talk about that. But I would bet dollars to donuts that 99.9% of the calls on these, or the text on these phones, are not for emergency purposes. Now, I don't have any scientific data on that, but that's just my gut talking. Mm-hmm. And if you're wondering about this, go to facebook.com/rep, R-E-P, Tim Griffin, and we've got some great videos of television stations have done great investigations. There hadn't been any really in-depth investigations from the Little Rock television stations, although I'd like to see them. I'm asking them to do them. But they've asked some questions around. But in Baltimore and in Atlanta and some of the bigger cities, they've done some great investigations, and you can see some of the clips on our website.
Now, you pay for this off your own cell phone bill,
That's right. There's a line on your cell phone bill: Universal Service Fund, Universal Service Fee, Universal Service Charge. And you may wonder, what are all these fees and taxes and what have you? Well, one of them is paying for this. Now, it pays for some other stuff too, but $1 billion of it pays for this. And, this is really a test for the country. If we can't cut $1 billion in this nonsense, then how are we going to really ever grapple with the larger, weighty issues? I think that I've had about 80-20, I think, in terms of supporting killing this program. We got to stop this.
All right, I know you got to go cast some votes, and you guys are being called back into session. Last question for you: Sarkozy loses over in France. A lot of newspapers now, in fact, USA Today said that's bad for people who are into austerity because it's showing that people just don't want to give up programs. That may be the case. However, they may not want to give them up, but they'll be forced to give them up if we don't make cuts.
I think what I told you in the break is the fact that that Sarkozy was thrown out does not change the balance sheet. It does not change the fact that they're going off a cliff. It does not change the fact that Germany's sitting over there snickering under their breath at all the nonsense in these countries that they've had to bail out. I mean, look, the fact that France made the wrong decision and put a socialist in there who's going to tax people at 75% of their income, that doesn't change any of the balance sheets. That doesn't change their debt. That doesn't change any of their situation. They may feel better, but they're no better. And let me tell you, I was watching some interviews, and a lot of those folks are going to get the heck out of that country. I saw a young guy interviewed, and he said, "Man, I'm moving to London." And so, they've made mistakes before. We all have, and this was a mistake.
All right, Congressman Tim Griffin, thanks a lot. We'll let you get back to work.